guys, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Gabby. Today's conspiracy video is going to be all about celebrity deaths. Now, the celebrities that I'm talking about in this video all had very mysterious deaths, and there's a lot of conspiracies surrounding their deaths in general, but I'm just going to be talking about the conspiracies surrounding their deaths, saying that they may have been murdered. Before I start this video though, I just want to make it clear that I'm not saying I believe in these conspiracies 100%. I'm just simply stating them for you guys. And I mean no disrespect to anybody I mentioned in this video. So with that being said, let's just get into it. Here are 3 celebrities who may have been murdered. Brittany Murphy was born Brittany Ann Bertolotti on November 10, 1977 in Atlanta, Georgia. Her breakthrough role was playing Ty in the cult classic film Clueless, then going on to star in other films such as Girl Interrupted, 8 Mile, and Uptown Girl. Brittany was known for having a very quirky, outgoing, and kind-hearted personality, but like many stars, the people who knew her best in life were concerned at the time that she wasn't going down the most positive path in life. On December 20th, 2009, at around 8 a.m., Brittany fainted in her bathroom and was transported to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where she tragically passed away at around 10 a.m. after going into cardiac arrest. Brittany Murphy was only 32 years old when she passed away, so when the initial report came out saying that her death was a result of natural causes, the world was very confused. It wasn't until 2 months later, on February 25th, 2010, did Los Angeles Assistant Chief Coroner Ed Winter come out with a second statement saying the primary cause of her death was pneumonia, but included factors of anemia and drug intoxication. But then something happened that made this case a bit more strange. On May 23rd, 2010, Brittany's husband, Simon Monjack, was found dead at the same residence they lived in together before she passed away, and the cause of his death was reported as being similar to what caused Brittany's: pneumonia and anemia. Brittany's loved ones wanted answers. Their deaths were reported to the Los Angeles Department of Health to see if their deaths were a result of toxic mold. Now, at first, Brittany's mother did not believe these claims, and the coroner came out saying that there was no indicator that toxic mold was a factor in their deaths. In December 2011, Brittany's mother changed her mind and claimed that mold was responsible, even filing a lawsuit against the attorneys who represented her prior, and Brittany's father, in November of 2013, stated that the toxicology report showed that deliberate poisoning by heavy metals may have been what caused her death. It said that Brittany had over 10 heavy metals in her system, very similar to what is consistent with rat poison. But who would have poisoned Brittany Murphy? Was someone out to get this young starlet? Well, according to Brittany's friend, Julia Davis, the answer to that question is yes. Julia Davis is a Department of Homeland Security whistleblower who tried to expose security flaws in the U.S.'s process of allowing immigrants into the United States. The Department of Homeland Security didn't like this too much and went on to do over 50 investigations of Julia, going through all her belongings and setting up surveillance at her home and anyone else's home who was involved in the investigation. One of those people being Brittany Murphy. But how did Brittany get involved? Well, a Department of Homeland Security supervisor who knew Brittany through her daughter made a false sworn statement that Brittany told her that Julia Davis was working on a film during her unpaid leave, which Julia wasn't supposed to do. Since Brittany was friends with Julia, she confirmed that these allegations were completely false, and Julia believes that this is what may have determined Brittany's horrible fate. Julia claims Brittany's home was put under constant surveillance, being targeted by Homeland Security, and none other than the U.S. government may be to blame for Brittany and her husband's untimely passing. Julia says that Brittany was a true friend to her, and she defended her against false allegations, and she plans to do the same for her, even in death. Next is the god of grunge himself, Kurt Cobain. Kurt Donald Cobain was born on February 20th, 1967 in Aberdeen, Washington. Kurt is best known for being the lead singer of the popular 90s band Nirvana. My God, Kurt Cobain was a very talented man, yet a very troubled man, and at the height of his fame, he passed away on April 5th, 1994 in Seattle, Washington at the age of 27 from a suspected suicide. The report claimed that he took a gun, held it to his head, and pulled the trigger after doing an intense amount of heroin. He left behind a legend, tons of fans, and especially a beautiful young baby girl, his daughter Frances Bean Cobain. In no time, speculation arose that maybe Kurt didn't commit suicide. Maybe his death was a result of murder, and one of the people who claimed to love him most in life may have been to blame. When private investigator Tom Grant, who was hired by Courtney Love on April 3rd, 1994, to locate her husband after he disappeared from a drug rehab center, first heard the news that Kurt committed suicide, he simply didn't believe it. Tom Grant researched this case to no end, and he found a lot of things that don't make sense and a ton of inconsistencies. For one, Tom claims the suicide note was not even a suicide note. It wasn't made out to Courtney or his daughter, and it is easy to tell that the note was actually a letter to a fan, and the footnote of the letter was made out to Courtney and Frances, and the handwriting in that section is very questionable as to whether it was even Kurt's. There was also a second note that Courtney told no one about until months later, and this note said nothing about Kurt wanting to take his own life, but simply that he was leaving Courtney. The gun used by Kurt to supposedly pull off the suicide was also purchased before he left for rehab, not after, like was told in the news. And Tom Grant says it was purchased for protection, and possibly Kurt was in fear of his life and knew something was going to happen to him. Police stated that there was no eligible fingerprints on the gun, but they didn't test the gun for fingerprints until a month later. There's a lot of things that make Courtney look possibly guilty, such as the fact that Kurt's credit card was missing from his wallet and someone tried to use that credit card after he passed away. Also, people say that Courtney was practicing Kurt's handwriting, and there's notebooks that you can tell she was trying to get his handwriting perfectly. But most of all, the thing that is the fishiest is the amount of heroin that was in his system. Kurt's body was found with 3 times the lethal dose, an amount that even a hardcore addict couldn't handle reaching. Experts say that with that amount of heroin in his system, there's no way he could have been able to even hold a gun, especially not get enough strength to pull the trigger. And why would he decide to do both an overdose and a gunshot to the head? It just doesn't make sense.
I cannot think of a case in which someone inject himself with a large amount of heroin and then proceed to kill himself. It just doesn't make sense.
Courtney Love's lawyer, a woman named Rosemary Carroll, who was also Frances's godmother, also agrees with these claims.
How do you feel about the note?
I don't think he wrote. I feel exactly the same way. He didn't write it.
Yeah.
I feel the same way I felt when I read it. He didn't write it. That doesn't mean, that could mean any one of a number of things.
Right.
But in my mind, I don't think he wrote that note.
The evidence that Tom Grant gathered that makes Courtney look like she may have killed Kurt convinced so many people it even resulted in a 2015 film called Soaked in Bleach.
Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain
He's dead.
In today's time, Tom Grant stands behind his initial claims, and he hopes that Frances can eventually piece together everything and find out the truth. He says he's also open to talking to Frances or Courtney at any time. And this remains one of the most talked about celebrity death conspiracy theories out there. The next person I'm going to be talking about is someone I'm sure you are all very familiar with, and that is the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958 in Gary, Indiana. Michael Jackson started his music career at an early age in 1964 as a member in the Jackson 5 alongside his older brothers. Michael Jackson is one of the biggest music icons we've ever had, and although his career was bumpy at times, overall it was an amazing one. On June 25, 2009, while in the care of Conrad Murray, his personal physician, he was given medication to help him sleep, and he stopped breathing and couldn't be resuscitated, passing away at the age of 50 years old. With the mix of medication in his system at the time of death that was distributed by Conrad Murray, the Los Angeles coroner treated the case as a homicide and charged him with involuntary manslaughter in 2010. He was found guilty in 2011 and was released in October 2013 after 2 years of his 4-year sentence. Most of us are pretty familiar with the conspiracies surrounding Michael Jackson and his death. There's tons of them out there, including that he may be still alive, that he was killed by government officials. Even his sister LaToya says that she believes the conspiracy that Michael was actually worked to an early death by his business associates. The theory that Michael Jackson was killed is one of the most popular celebrity theories out there, with many believers, one of those being his own daughter, Paris Jackson. In an interview with Rolling Stone magazine in January of 2017, Paris came out saying that she believes the claims that her father was in fact killed. When asked if she thought he was murdered, she said, "It's obvious. All arrows point to that. It sounds like a total conspiracy theory and it sounds like bullshit, but all real fans and everybody in the family knows it. It was a setup. It was bullshit." When asked who she thought did it, she said that a lot of people had issues with her father, and going on to say, "Of course I want justice, I definitely do. But it's a chess game and I'm trying to play the chess game the right way. And that's all I can say about that right now." She says that her father would often say, "They're gonna kill me someday." This is something that his ex-wife Lisa Marie Presley also says that he would say on the regular, leaving people to wonder, is there truth to this theory? So I hope that you guys enjoyed that video. Now, whether you believe these conspiracies or not, I tried to include conspiracies that had a little bit more of actual evidence to back them up than just complete speculation. And I love hearing what you guys think about everything that I talk about, so definitely leave those comments down below, along with any recommendations for video ideas that you have. And as always, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.